What's up, people? Hello, everyone. Visible area on. Oh, okay, great. So, y'all, I am giving this thing a whirl today with what's up, Chris? Hey, hello, folks. What's up, Tara Love? Good to see you. So, if you see me doing this, it is because I am trying something different today. Because Substack, I'm very excited, has given me access to go live and stream directly through them on the desktop, which they only do for certain folks. So I'm very happy that they have granted me that. And so this is literally my first time live directly on Substack. So welcome to the Substack, folks. You normally see me via Restream. What's up, Amy? What's up, David? Good to see you. Hello, what's up, Lori, over there in YouTube? I see you as well. So I am glad to have you guys joining me directly. This should be interesting to see kind of how all of this works. Got a lot that I want to talk about today. Not as much time as I normally do to talk about all the things. So what's up, Mohammed OS? Hello, Conchita, Blue Nevada, Cheryl, Cam, good to see you guys. How are you all? So if you are joining me on anywhere other than the tick of the talk, please make sure that you say hi because I don't get to see you until you greet me and then I can greet you back. So I'm kind of excited to get this access on Substack. I happen to like Substack's interface a whole lot more than I do some of the other platforms. I love TikTok as well, of course. Hey, Farah, how are you? What's up, Grammy? Lavonda, good to see you. Yes, you should be proud of your Indiana senators today. You should absolutely be proud of those folks. Hey, Iris, Sarah. Yeah. So for those of you guys, if you are watching me on the Tick of the Talk and you want to check it out, I am live everywhere today: Substack, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. Hello, Heather Loves Purple. What's up, Nick B? Good to see you, sis. Dang, I ain't seen you in a minute. That's old school love right there. That's old school. We go way, way, way back. So I'm excited to see you pop up in here. Yeah, you're so pleasantly shocked. Yes, I would imagine that you are. Good morning, Lynn Foster. Well, I guess it's good afternoon now. I'm later than I normally am. Sandy, I have no idea if you can gift on Substack. I don't believe so. It's like a new, this is the first time I'm going directly live via Substack instead of using Restream. I love that, Audra. Appreciate it. Hey, Uka. So I'm really glad to see everybody. There are lots of things that I want to talk about. For those of you guys that are on TikTok, you can see the graphic. Substack. This is the first time I've ever gone live directly with this interface. So I don't know that I have the ability to add graphics and things like that. So I'll just play with it as time goes on and we'll go from there. Okay. But for those of you guys who can see the graphic on TikTok, you are seeing an image that has Jeffrey. For those of you guys who do not know, TikTok is very sensitive about language that we use. So instead of saying his last name, which begins with an E, I just call him Jeffrey. So you see you see an image with Jeffrey and Donald. What's up, Veronica? And then you also see Ghislaine up there. And then you also see Mike Johnson. You see BB Netanyahu up there. What's up, David H? I see you over there. You also see Haley Stevens and you see RFK Jr. Okay, great. Love that, David. So you might be wondering, yeah, girl, love you on purpose too. Love you on for real purpose. You call him his BFF Jeff. That is true. That's his BFF Jeff. But I do want to talk about quite a few things. Good morning, Cheryl. So number one, if you have not already registered for the free training, the free workshop that I'm doing this upcoming Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, make sure that you go to my link tree and register. It is a free training. It is called How We Stop the Madness. It is going to be focusing on not just what's happening, right, in politics and in the country and in the world, but what can we do about it, right? What's up, No Going Back? Good to see you as well. And so that training is very near and dear to my heart. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, Heather. I really do. That training, if you haven't already registered, please go and make sure that you do. It was supposed to be 2 days ago. However, my grandson got sick with a horrible case of the flu, which is going around really prevalently. So I did not get to do it. Okay. What's up, Michelle? I hope that you are feeling better. Cam, I would say yes, but it may not, it may tell you no. So I would say re-register just to be on the safe side. Dominic is doing better today. He's back at school after 4 days out of school. So there you go. A lot going on. Okay. So next on the agenda, the reason that I want to talk about, no, he finally went back to school today. Yeah, he went back to school today. And listen to how sweet this boy is, y'all. So he's been out for 4 days. Hey, Sherry Cooper, good to see you. And with a horrible case of the flu, he had a project that was supposed to be due on Monday. But remember, he got sick Saturday night and was really sick Sunday, right? So he didn't get to finish the project that was due Monday. Do you know my grandson and all of his fantasticness did that daggone project that was due on Monday last night so that he could turn it in today. And then he'll get the rest of his assignments that he missed today. So when I tell you that kid is just stellar, he is just stellar. Yeah, Cam, he's an incredible kid. So I'm super, super proud of him at all times and in all ways. All right. So I want to talk about a couple of different things today. And the reason that you see all of these faces on TikTok that I just mentioned were in the graphics. What's up, Carmen? Good to see you. Is because how many of you all know that articles of impeachment were introduced yesterday on RFK Jr. for causing chaos in healthcare? How many of you guys are familiar with the fact that articles of impeachment for RFK Jr. were introduced? Yes, the workshop is Wednesday, right? Now, check this out. You all know who filed the articles of impeachment, right? Who is she? You didn't know? Now you know. Who filed the articles of impeachment? Spoiler alert, I put her face in my graphic. Who filed the articles of impeachment, guys? You didn't hear that, Lori? Now you know. Nope, not MTG. Haley Stevens. Haley Stevens. Now, Haley Stevens is a congresswoman from Michigan. Now, I met Haley Stevens this past spring when I was at the Michigan Rural Caucus. So I was at the Michigan Rural Caucus. What's up, Ethan? Good to see you on Substack. I was at the Michigan Rural Caucus, and my job, I was their keynote speaker for this year. And then I was also a facilitator of 2 breakout sessions. Okay. And so I met Haley then. Matter of fact, she asked to take a picture with me, which was odd, but cool. Yep, you remember, right? Now, I will tell you this. I loved everything that I heard Haley Stevens say pretty much when she was at that event with me. Does anyone know the moment that my appreciation and respect for Haley Stevens took a hit? Anybody want to know the moment that my appreciation and respect for Haley Stevens took a huge, ginormous hit? Oh, you would want a fangirl? Not after I say this, you won't. Not after I say this, you will not fangirl over Haley Stevens anymore. She took the money. Heather, whose money did she take? Whose money did Heather? AIPAC money. A hell of a lot of AIPAC money. She took a shit ton of AIPAC money, so much so, over me, not her. Oh, I appreciate the fangirling. But no, she took a shit ton of AIPAC money, and so much so that she is featured on AIPAC's website. Yeah, I just literally... And I will tell you this. So I had a conversation with another friend of mine that I respect greatly in Michigan. And I said, hey, do you think that Haley Stevens would like come to a podcast episode with me or come do a live with me? And she said, probably no, probably she won't. because you're very outspoken against the G side in Palestine. You're very outspoken about the government of Israel and what they do and the G side. And so, yeah, she's probably not going to come on a podcast. And I thought, well, shame on her, because she should. Right? You should, because you should want the opportunity to explain yourself. You should want the opportunity to tell people, hey, maybe I did this thing before I knew this. Maybe I did this thing and now I don't support it. You should be able to kind of stand, like, listen, if you're going to let AIPAC put you on their website, if you're going to let AIPAC quote you, then you should 100% be able to, oh, yeah, Haley Stevens, that she's from Michigan, and she took a ton of AIPAC money. And so, my thought is she should be willing to come on a podcast. She should be willing to come. What's up, Akma Dorari? Good to see you. You're welcome. So let me look real quick and I will tell you how much she took. Okay. For those of you guys, if you want to know if your congressperson took money with AIPAC, I'll reach out to her, Sandy. You're welcome. And let me just take a second. So if you want to know if the people that are your representative or the people who are running for Congress took AIPAC money, then you can do that by simply going to trackaipac.com, and it's AIPAC, AIPAC. And you can find out. I will tell you people that, no worries, Michelle, got you. I will tell you people that I had an immense amount of respect for, and knowing that they took the amount of AIPAC money that they took has made me really question them. So in addition to Haley Stevens, Elisa Slotkin is also one of them. Elisa Slotkin, who is former CIA, worked right alongside military overseas and in the Middle East. Elisa Slotkin took $649,567 in pro-Israel money. Now, I also didn't like the fact that she questioned Pete Hegseth the way that she did and then went ahead and voted for him, right? So that would be one of them. Let me give you, Haley Stevens took, are you ready for this fucking number right here? Can I give you the number for Haley Stevens? $5,495,697. Haley Stevens took $5,495,697. Yeah, Cam, she's in deep. She's in deep. Yeah, she sold her whole ass soul. Oh, I love that, Shanna. Now, let me tell you my thought. This is why she's being this is why she's on the front of their website, right? Now, let me tell you my thoughts about this, okay? The reason why I want to connect a couple of dots for everybody. What's up, Pin 1010? Good vibes. Good to see you. So, hold on a second, AJ Samaj. Stop. Y'all are not going to get my ADHD going bloop, 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 bloop. No, you're not. Stop. We are not here right now to look up people and see who took AIPAC money. That is not what we are here for. Right now, I am telling you a specific piece of information because we are on an agenda so that I can connect some damn dots. So do not try to get me on your merry-go-round, okay? So listen, I was like, what? No, absolutely not. I just told y'all where to go find it for yourself, but listen. Okay, so the reason why this is significant is because of this. Haley Stevens just introduced articles of impeachment against RFK Jr., right? What does it tell you that she was able to do that? What does it tell you? It's okay. It's okay. Israel is perfectly okay. RFK Jr. is not part of the protected folks. Listen, this is important, folks. We already knew she took the money, but what does it tell you about her ability to introduce those articles of impeachment against him? It tells you exactly, Michael Anthony, he has lost support of the core. They are okay with his ass being out because if Israel was not okay with it, Haley Stevens would not be doing it. Absolutely, Cheryl. Well, she is safe to do it, and he's disposable. Now, here's a different thing. Who do we know that introduced articles of impeachment about Trump? Who introduced articles of impeachment on Trump? Al Green. How many Democrats joined Republicans to shut that down? How many Democrats joined with Republicans to shut down the impeachment of Trump? $23. Patricia wins. Ding, 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 ding. Patricia wins. 23. 23 Democrats. Yep, that's all. 23. Now, one of my homework assignments for today will be to look up those 23 Democrats and see who took AIPAC money, right? Listen, this is something that I really want us to get into the practice of doing, okay? When you look at things that are happening in Congress and you see what's being introduced, who's killing it, who's going along with it, who's doing whatever, I'm going to strongly encourage you to get into the practice of connecting the dots and going to see who took what money. If there's an initiative and if there's an agenda behind it. And the first thing, the biggest one that I'm going to tell you to go look up is whether or not they took AIPAC money. Did they take pro-Israel money? And the reason why I'm going to tell you to start there is because that is the strongest, most forceful lobby in the country. There are members of Congress that can speak out against certain PACs, certain organizations, certain institutions, and still run for office and still do whatever, right? That is not AIPAC. That is not AIPAC. For those of you all who do not get it, Qatar money doesn't have any, it doesn't even come close to AIPAC money. Let me be very clear about something, folks. Okay, I'm gonna take a little survey of the rooms real quick. If you were not with me when I played the clip of Jimmy Carter talking about AIPAC, please put a 1 in the comments. No, it's not. The world is your oyster. No, it is not when we talk about Congress. No, it is not when we talk about Congress. Gosh, there's a lot of you guys. Okay. So give me a moment and I will pull it up for you. Okay. How's that? Give me 1 second. There it is. All right. I got you. I want this one. All right. So listen to me, people. All right. This part's important to me. Yeah, you're welcome, AJ Samaj. So listen, folks, when I talk about, oh, Brienne, good to see you. So listen, folks, when I talk about the money and I talk about the power you need to understand that in terms of Congress, there isn't a single PAC as powerful as AIPAC. There's not a single PAC. Why do I say that? Because 96% of the candidates they endorsed in 2024 won their races. 96%. Why do I say that? Because AIPAC raised more money for the Black Caucus than any other PAC in the country. AIPAC raised more money for the Hispanic Caucus than any other PAC in the country. AIPAC endorsed the leadership of both parties. Do you understand? Hakeem Jeffries, Mike Johnson, both AIPAC. I'm going to say that again. Hakeem Jeffries, Mike Johnson, both AIPAC. So when we talk about pro-Israel, yeah, I have the numbers. We've literally, Cory Booker, hell yeah, he's AIPAC. Listen, we've literally gone over the numbers. I've downloaded their 2024 report. So listen, folks, they're not shy about this. In my opinion, AIPAC and Israel is the reason MTG is retiring. It is not because of Jeffrey. It's not because of Jeffrey, folks. It's not her push on Jeffrey. It is her criticism of Israel. It is her going on Tucker Carlson and talking about Israel. It is her going on podcasts. It is her posing with the women of Code Pink in Congress while they wear keffiyehs. Did y'all know that MTG did that? What's up, Beach Bum Wannabe? Did y'all know that? MTG posed with the women of Code Pink in the halls of Congress while they were all sporting keffiyehs. She even looked like she was wearing one herself. Okay? And that was this week. So when we talk about what is, I know she wasn't, but it looked like it. The thing she had on, Amy, somebody goes, dang. It is not about money side by side. You're not listening. Do you understand that you can give a shit ton of money and still not have power? Money is not automatically synonymous with power. So let me ask you this, the person who keeps talking to me about Qatar, can you name for me a political PAC that is that represents Qatar that doesn't have to be registered as a foreign lobby? Can you tell me the last time that Qatar was able to keep an American citizen in their prison for 9 months while our representatives went to visit that country, while our president went to visit that country, and we didn't do shit to bring them home? Can you tell me the last time Qatar was able to just run over an American citizen with a damn bulldozer like they did Rachel in Israel and nobody did shit? No, that's not true, Antoine and Tanya. It's not true that only Vermont reps didn't take AIPAC money. That's not true. It's so important, y'all. It is so important, you all, for people to understand how that facts are important. Appreciate you, Witch. It is not true that only Vermont reps didn't take pro-Israel money. That's not a fact. That's incorrect. And so I'm not sure what your point is. I'm not sure what your point is when you say that Qatar is funding Hamas. I'm not sure what your point in that statement is. Because let me just be very clear. Let me be very clear. I don't care who's funding Hamas. I don't care. I care that the United States of America is funding Israel while they commit a genocide. That's what I care about. Okay. Last time I checked, the H organization wasn't illegally occupying a bunch of land that didn't belong to them and unaliving one child every hour. The last time I checked, the H organization hadn't unalived over 20,000 children in the last 2 years. The last time I checked, right? Who cares what I care for? Well, you, honey, you're in my life. You care. You're with me. See, if you didn't care, you would just swoop right on out of my life. If you did not care what I thought, you wouldn't be in here. See, beloved, just by your presence, you indicate that you care. And then not only are you caring, but you are commenting, which means you really care. You care so much, you want me to give you some attention. Good Lord. You do know that's how it works, right? Yeah, so that's the thing, happy girl, happy girl. What they want is absolutely their both sides. Israel doesn't care if you're Republican or Democrat. They care, are you pro-Israel? That's what they care about. Oh, come on, see, Brent, come tell me about it. I gave you an invitation. Come on, come up here and talk to me about it. Right. See, beloved? Right. Oh, they did more than help remove Cori Bush. They are the reason Cori Bush got removed. When you understand, I believe Cori Bush's, the guy who took her place, got about $19 million, if I remember correctly. But this is when, yeah, she is running again, Veronica. Cori Bush is running again. So this is when you've got to start saying, okay, well, let me figure out who's who and what's what. But for those of you all who doubt the impact of APAC, let me just do this real quickly and let me see if I can turn this up. Why are you doing that? Okay, so yeah, it's a load of money. It's a lot of money. Now check this out, folks. Are you ready? So what I'm going to do for you right now is I'm going to play for you an interview from former President Jimmy Carter. This interview is 18 years old. And so he's being interviewed by Amy Goodman from Democracy Now!, which if you don't follow Democracy Now!, you're missing out. You absolutely need to be following Democracy Now! You can follow them on YouTube, on Facebook, but that is someone that you need to be following, okay? Now, he is being interviewed by Amy, and she specifically asks him about what Israel doing in Palestine is apartheid the right word, right? Should people describe the state of Palestine under illegal occupation by Israel? Should they call that apartheid? And this is what he says. He says the word apartheid is exactly accurate. And then he goes on to share this. You ready?
Exactly accurate. You know, this is an area that's occupied by two powers. They're now completely separated. The Palestinians can't even ride on the same roads that the Israelis have created.
Now I want to stop right there. He said the Palestinians cannot even ride on the same roads that the Israelis have created. And that's why he said apartheid is exactly accurate. It's exactly accurate. Ethan, can you let me know if you guys can hear the Jimmy Carter video when I was playing it? Could you hear it? If you're watching on Substack, just let me know if you can hear the video. I know that TikTok can, and I know that YouTube and Facebook can. I want to make sure that Substack can. But I just wanted to point out what he says. And I'm going to pause along through here because I really want you couldn't hear it? Shit. All right, 1 second, Ethan. Can I? Y'all know I'm using this Substack for the first time. Okay. So yeah, TikTok's been freezing a lot. You guys can, yeah, I know you guys can hear it. Oh, I have an idea. Hold on. I get excited because I'm having like multiple systems that can help me get done the things I want to get done. And the closer I get to the new year where I'm able to kind of launch everything across the board, it makes me really excited. So here we go. All right, I'm going to play it so that hopefully everybody can hear. Give me 1 second. Jimmy Carter. It's sad. I've looked this thing up so much, y'all. As soon as I put in Jimmy, it just comes up. It just comes up with this article. Okay, are you ready? Now I'm going to play it so that everyone can hear it. You ready? Here we go.
Is exactly accurate. You know, this is an area that's occupied by two powers. They're not completely separated.
Oh,
Palestinians
thanks, Chris.
can't even ride on the same roads that the Israelis have created or built in Palestinian territory. The Israelis never see a Palestinian except they're Israeli soldiers. The Palestinians never see an Israeli except at a distance, except the Israeli soldiers.
Did you hear that? They never see each other except for the soldiers. Palestinians don't see Israelis except for the soldiers. Listen to this, y'all.
So within Palestinian territory, they're absolutely and totally separated. Much worse than they were in South Africa, by the way.
Much worse than they were in South Africa. So come on, y'all. We all know Nelson Mandela. We all know South African apartheid, right? And this is the former president of the United States, Jimmy Carter. And by most accounts, I would say probably the most ethical president we've ever had. I'm not saying perfect, but I am saying ethical, right? And listen, he is telling the damn truth and shaming the devil. Listen.
And the other thing is, the other definition of apartheid is one side dominates the other. And the Israelis completely dominate the life of the Palestinian people.
Why don't Americans know what you have seen?
Americans don't want to know. And many Israelis don't want to know what is going on inside Palestine. It's a terrible human rights persecution that is far transcends what any outsider would imagine. And
I want you to pause. The first thing he said was, Americans don't want to know. How many of you all would agree that many Americans today don't want to know the truth? Oh my Jesus. This is what I get for trying to help people. Give me a second. I'm getting frustrated. Sorry. Oh, for what would you like me to do about it? Sorry, this is a thing, right? You know, when you are doing absolutely everything you can to help people, and anyway, I ordered an Uber for someone, being nice, right? Paid for it, everything. I set the pickup for 1 o'clock, like they asked me to. Like they asked me to. and the Uber is coming 10 minutes early. I don't know what you would like for me to do about that. I set you as the rider. You have the notifications. I don't know what you want me to do about that. Because right now I'm working. And I'm getting attitude. For fuck's sake. Anyway, I digress. I don't know what the absolute, I don't even know what you want me to do. Yeah, she said they won't wait. I'm like, it's a scheduled ride. And then it was, well, okay, I'm going to leave work early. Hope I don't get in trouble. Well, I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want me to do about that. Yes, Lisa. Yes, my belief is that they wait when it's scheduled. I believe they wait when it's scheduled. So for those of y'all who are new to me, no matter where you're watching me from, I'm a real life person. I don't have a team of people. No, they're not. Coolest mom ever. They're not. They're not. I'm a real life person. I don't have a whole team. They have to wait. Thank you, Debar. Love that. Hi, Jim. Oh my God, I love you so much. I love seeing you over here. What's up, Leslie Ann? Yes, they can, which is what I said do. We are better than this. But here's the thing, okay? I'm a real person. I'm a mom, a grandmother, a disabled veteran, and I don't have a whole team. So life be lifing, and y'all just get the reality of my life. So I hope you're good with it because this is what it looks like. Here's what I would say to you if you're not good with it: pretend that it's 2020. Listen, pretend that it's 2020 when we gave everybody grace when they were working from home on Zoom. Do you remember that, y'all, when it was 2020? Everybody was quarantined, people were on Zoom, and if the baby cried or the dog barked, we were like, oh, it's okay. Life is life. Like, I know you have a life. I know you're not. Pretend that it's that. Because I think we should pretend like it's that all the time. I think this idea that work means you're not a person is ridiculous because you are still a human being. You are still a person. And I think that the more we treat each other like that, the better a world we would have. Yeah, I understand essential workers didn't, and I appreciate essential workers, right? But I'm just saying, yeah. So, oh, well, yeah, they wanted people back into offices, not just so they could make money. It's so those companies could write off the real estate that they bought. Just saying. Okay. But listen to former President Jimmy Carter, you guys, that is talking about, and I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be lost on you that, yeah, it had to do with the empty office buildings, Megan, 100%. Because they own that real estate. They got to pay that rent. They need it as a tax write-off. They need it to make sense, all that stuff. And if we're going to take it a step further, right? If we can just like take a little sidebar here, the step further is that what? They didn't want people to realize that we could be just as productive, in many cases, more productive if we incorporated our personal life into our professional life and we just made it work as human beings. That's what they didn't want us to know. They didn't want us to realize that the system that they created, the high rises and the buildings and the big, all of that wasn't necessary in many cases. Right, Cam. Can't have people realizing that we can have it all, that you can be a mom and a grandmother and an attorney and a consultant and a whatever. How dare we dream that we could be a whole ass human being in this lifetime? But I digress. But I digress. Right, bloody pot. Okay, so just I'm connecting the dots today for those of you all that are just tuning in. Because in almost every situation, yep, Heather, yes, in almost every situation that I see happening in our politics today, I end up finding some connection to Israel, some connection to Israel's agenda or their money, right? Not specifically about it being greater than the French Revolution, but about wealth disparity. Yes, Sarah. But follow me about this, y'all. So let me share this with you all. When we look at Jeffrey, right? What do we now know about Jeffrey? We know that Jeffrey was in Russian intelligence. We know that Jeffrey was in American intelligence. We know that Jeffrey was in Israeli intelligence. We know that Jeffrey had Ehud Barak, who was the former prime minister of Israel, in his home over 30 different times. We know that Ehud Barak went to the island and to the Manhattan home. We know that they went to Mongolia together and did a deal with Israeli technology, right? We know that they created a surveillance state in an African country. Like, these are all things that we now know. So it's crazy. But even when we look at Jeffrey, even when we look at Donald's BFF, right? We still see Israel. Wild, right? When you look at the Democratic Party and their greatest contributors, you find Israel. You find AIPAC, not registered as a lobby, as a foreign lobby, right? When you look at the Republican Party and their leadership and their greatest donators, what do you find? You find Israel, 100%, right? And even now, I'm connecting these dots because when I saw that Haley Stevens had introduced articles of impeachment on RFK Jr., I said, well, damn, Israel must be good with that. Why do I say that? Because Haley Stevens took $5.5 million of AIPAC money. I can promise you, there's very little that Haley Stevens is going to do that Israel doesn't say, yeah, cool, go ahead. 5.5 million damn dollars of pro-Israel money. That's what Haley Stevens took. Bless you, Titan. My cat sneezed. Now, and so it was just interesting to me to see those dots, right? And then when you look and you say, okay, well, who were the 23 Democrats that joined with the Republicans to put to rest the impeachment on Trump? And so now what do we need to do? We need to look at who those 23 Democrats are, and we need to trace them back and look up their donations. Venezuela, thank you, Ethan. I was going there next, Ethan. So when you look at Venezuela, that has an Israel connection. When you go to that tanker, the skipper, I read about this yesterday. How many of you guys were not with me yesterday when I talked about the tanker that we seized off the coast of Venezuela? That was yesterday. How many of you guys weren't here yesterday? Put a 1 in the comments if you weren't here yesterday to hear me talk about that. I see a lot of you guys on the tick of the talk weren't here. Absolutely, happy girl, they are. Okay, so a lot of you guys weren't. So let me pull this up real quick. There it is. All right, so the name of the oil tanker that we seized off the coast of Venezuela is the Skipper, okay? Now, here's what's interesting about the Skipper. The Skipper is a 20-year-old tanker that we sanctioned in 2022. I'm going to say that again. The United States of America sanctioned the Skipper in 2022. Why did we sanction it? Because we knew that the Skipper was traveling under a fake name and it was transporting Iranian oil under a different name. Did y'all know that? So the U.S. Treasury Department sanctioned the skipper in 2022 for its alleged role in an oil smuggling network that helped fund the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps and Hezbollah, which is a Lebanese militant group that is quote unquote backed by Iran. The ship, which in 2022 was known as the Adisa, is among vessels that are controlled, listen to this, by sanctioned Russian oil magnate Viktor Artemov. So the Russian dude controls the ship that is smuggling oil for Iran, because Russia's oil is sanctioned too. Okay. So at the time, the Treasury Department said that Victor transported Iranian oil using an expansive network of ships that were often registered in obscure ways with the intention of skirting U.S. restrictions on Iranian petroleum exports. Now, why does it matter? Why does it matter that the oil is Iranian? Who do we know that wants to pick a fucking fight with Iran? Who do we know that wants to start a fight with Iran? Who do we know? Who do we know? BB, Izzy, Nettie, Israel, Bibi Netanyahu. No, Trump doesn't want to start a fight with Iran. Bibi wants to start a fight with Iran, and Trump's going to do whatever the fuck Bibi says do. Right. And Bibi Netanyahu also used to fund Hamas. That's the other part that people should know. If you really want to go, you need to understand that Netanyahu used to fund Hamas. How many of you all did not know that? That Bibi Netanyahu used to fund Hamas. Yes, he did. Why? Because he wanted the Palestinian Authority. So hold on and listen. I don't know who the fuck said no, he didn't. If you think he didn't, you don't know what you're talking about. He did. So if you go back and look, oops, hold on. So, and this is even this is even written about in the Times of Israel, people. So let me just tell you, this is from the Times of Israel. For years, Netanyahu propped up Hamas. Now it's blown up in our faces. That's the headline from the Times of Israel. Okay? Because they did it in order to keep Palestine from uniting, because they didn't want a Palestinian statehood to be created. So listen to this. For years, the various governments led by Benjamin Netanyahu took an approach that divided power between the Gaza Strip and the West Bank, which is true today. The West Bank is governed by the Palestinian Authority, which pretty much does whatever the hell Israel says, right? And then the Gaza Strip is governed by Hamas because they were elected. Okay. So they wanted to divide the power between those things. Hush, Liberty, mine, hush. So he actually propped them up. And so it was to prevent Abbas or anyone else in the Palestinian Authority's West Bank government from advancing toward the establishment of a Palestinian state. So Hamas was upgraded from a mere organization with which Israel held indirect negotiations to one that was allowed to receive infusions of cash from abroad. So Israeli officials gave those permits to Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu gave in 2021, which is his fifth government, right? He gave between 2,000 and 3,000 work permits to Gazans. It climbed to 5,000 during the Bennett Lapid government, and it rose sharply to 10,000 under him. So since he returned to power in January of 2023, the number of work permits has soared to nearly 20,000. Why does that matter? It allows them to be paid money and kept money flowing into Gaza, right? Which funded them. The bottom line is if they don't get, so I think this is what people don't get, right? So for liberty over there, right? For liberty over there. So it is, damn it, it is funding them. Because if I don't give you a permit, you don't get money. So I am funding you if I am giving you the means in which to do that. So you've got to go. So listen, this particular person just reported the live for misinformation. And it's not misinformation. I just block them. So when you look at it, if the government of Israel is responsible for issuing the permits, and those permits are what allow you to make money, right? You are propping up that organization by doing that. You are making it funded by doing that. What's up, River Ray? Good to see you. Right? So when you look at the number of permits, it has gone, right, they can easily research it. It has gone from 2,000 up to 20,000. And that matters, folks. It's not hard. It's not hard to see that. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Leslie Ann. Good to see you. Right? Now, the other things that has happened, anything that gets into Gaza has to go through Israeli checkpoints. Everyone knows and understands that, right? Anything that is getting into Gaza has to go through an Israeli checkpoint. So I know lots of you all that are in here are have family or are part of the diaspora. Am I correct when I say that before anything gets into Gaza, it goes through an Israeli checkpoint? Anybody disagree with me about that? Correct, Carol. And anything that gets out, right? So, right, water, food, right. Even Mimi, Dr. Mimi, when I interviewed Dr. Mimi, she said 100%. That's why, listen, she was turned away and she had the suitcase full of stuff, right? So, one of the other things in this article from the Times of Israel says, quote, meanwhile, Israel has allowed suitcases holding millions in Qatari cash to enter Gaza through its crossings since 2018. Because that was part of their agreement. The article goes on to talk about the fact that Israeli policy was to treat the Palestinian Authority as a burden, right? And the H organization as an asset. And it was actually MK Bezalel Smotrich, right, who is now the finance minister, who actually said, He's actually the leader of the religious Zionism party. He actually said it in 2015 himself. Right. Ethan said yes, even back in the 80s when I was there. Exactly. So, according to various reports, Netanyahu made a similar point when he was at a Likud faction meeting in early 2019. Yeah, I have plenty of them, Mandy. I have plenty of them. This just happened to be the first one that I clicked on. Like, so let me just say this. I don't know of a single media outlet that doesn't have an agenda. Whether that's CNN, whether that's the Associated Press, whether that's Fox News, whether that's Newsweek, whether that's I don't know of a single one that doesn't have an agenda. That doesn't mean that what they're saying isn't accurate. They all have an agenda. It doesn't mean that the facts that they are giving you isn't true. So, this one was just the first one, right? But you can literally, in 2019, money to Hamas, the money from Qatar into Gaza was literally part of the ceasefire in 2019. Yeah, I did, Mindy, but this is the point that I'm making, right? So I'm going to tell you, there's a media outlet that I happen to like a lot, which is the New Republic. And the New Republic put out an article in 2023. And here's the title of the article. Hamas's main source of funding might surprise you. And then you get into the article and it says, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently said Israel is, quote, in the midst of a fight for our existence. And that its invasion of the Gaza Strip aims to, quote unquote, eliminate Hamas by destroying its military and governance capabilities, end quote. And it says, and then the article goes on to say that's a lofty goal. And then they go on to talk about the funding that happens outside of Gaza that makes its way into Gaza because that's part of the agreement. It's wild, but true. Okay. Now, I want to go back to what President Jimmy Carter was saying so that we understand the impact that pro-Israel money has in the United States of America, right? He's being asked, why don't Americans know about AIPAC? She's asking, Amy is asking President Carter, why don't Americans know? And he says, because they don't want to know. And then he says, and there are powerful political forces. Listen at this part. Which one, Wawa? So hold on, let me finish this part. Listen.
There are powerful political forces in America that prevents any objective analysis of the problem in the Holy Land. I think it's accurate to say that not a single member of Congress with whom I'm familiar would possibly speak out and call for Israel to withdraw to their legal boundaries or to publicize the plight of the Palestinians, or even to call publicly and repeatedly for good faith peace talks.
Did you all hear that? This is in 2007. This is the former president of the United States. And he is saying, I don't know of a single member of Congress that would call for Israel to withdraw itself back to its original lines that were drawn in 1967. I don't know that there's a single congressperson that would speak out about the plight of the Palestinian people. Yes, and it's trackapac.com, right? Listen to what he says, or even call for like real peace talks. Listen to what he says is the reason why. Listen.
There hadn't been a day of peace talks now in more than 7 years. So this is a taboo subject. And I would say that if any member of Congress did speak out, as I've just described, they would probably not be back into Congress the next term.
And if any member of Congress did speak out in the manner that I just described, they would not be back in Congress the next term. That's President Jimmy Carter in a 2007 interview with Amy Goodman of Democracy Now! Folks, this is 18 years ago. Right, Nancy G, hence MTG. This is why I say emphatically, you all, it's not MTG standing up with the survivors for the release of Jeffrey's information. It's not that. That is not what got MTG's ass out of Congress. It was her sitting on Tucker Carlson saying, well, I was never in Israel. I'm the only person in my class that wasn't invited to Israel. I'm the only person. I don't know why they don't have to register as a foreign lobby, because they should. And, doing Israel's bidding isn't America first. It's that shit. It is that has her packing her bags a couple of days after she's fully vested in Congress and gets her benefits. People need to be clear about where the lines are. Now listen to what he goes on to say.
Who are these forces that you're talking about?
Well, there's an inherent commitment in America, which I share as a Christian, of a deep commitment to make sure that Israel is safe and that Israel is free, and that they can seek for peace. So there's a strong inclination for all of us to support Israel's continued existence and peace. And that is added on to by the very effective work of the American-Israeli group called AIPAC, which is performing its completely legitimate task of convincing Americans to support the policies of the Israeli government.
Now, I think this part is what's important. He says convincing the American people of supporting the Israeli government, the policies of the Israeli government. Now, listen, if you are lobbying Congress to get Congress to agree with the policies of your government, you are a foreign lobby. Y'all get that, right? If you are working to get us to agree with the policies of your government, you are a foreign lobby. But AIPAC is not registered as a foreign lobby and doesn't have to be. How about that? So here we go. Here's some more.
And AIPAC is not dedicated to peace. They're dedicated to inducing the maximum support in America, in the White House, in the Congress, and in the public media for whatever policies the Israeli government has at a particular time.
So listen, he said AIPAC is not interested in peace. I think that's important, because what that tells me, he said AIPAC is not interested in peace. AIPAC is interested in inducing the White House and Congress to support whatever policies the Israeli government has at any particular time. Now, what that tells me is that if the Israeli government had a policy that truly wanted peace, that would then become the agenda of AIPAC, would it not? It just makes sense to me. He said AIPAC is not interested in peace. Like, that's not their agenda. Their agenda is to get the White House and Congress to support whatever the policies of the Israeli government has are at any particular time. Which means if at any time peace had been the policy, if peace had been the agenda, that would have been the goal of AIPAC. But it's not. Now, for everybody that is asking on Substack and TikTok as to why doesn't AIPAC have to be registered as a foreign lobby, let me say this loud and clear. That is the same question Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene asked before her ass was told she got to get out of Congress. Because there's no reason they shouldn't be. They meet all of the criteria to be registered as a foreign lobby. And this is again why I say there's nobody else that has the position, the power, and the authority that Israel has in this country. There's nobody else. We don't allow any other country to boom our own vessels like we did the USS Liberty. We don't allow any other country to hold Americans prisoner, Salam Abdul, right? We don't allow any other country, especially in that part of the region, to unalive our civilians and our citizens without doing anything about it. Well, no, the law exists there, Cam. That's my point. The law, what's up, Nader Who? This is my point. The law exists to require AIPAC to register as a foreign lobby. It's just not being enforced. Mosey, you just sound silly when you say your laws were made in 1776. That just sounds silly. No, all our laws weren't made in 1776. We make laws every year. I can promise you that in 1776, nobody was making election law about foreign lobbies. Not a thing. Well, Mozzie, I would say you're not accurate. So the U.S. wants Israel to do what Israel does so that the U.S. can get the resources that the U.S. gets. Yes, it is, Mr. Barrios. Another G's OP's moment. Who has to give some leverage to what? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Okay, so let me finish playing a little bit more of I don't know, y'all. Sometimes when I try to read what people are saying, and it's just like I'm not. Shut up, DJ. Don't laugh at me. So let me play a little bit more about this. Okay, hold on. Listen, and remember, this is former President Jimmy Carter.
Extremely effective.
Not from Israel, from the region.
Walton Mearsheimer, their new book, The Israel Lobby,
Listen.
about the power of AIPAC determining U.S. foreign policy.
I have to say I haven't read the book. I've read stories about it. I don't really know about the details of it, but I do know that AIPAC is very powerful and completely legitimate. I'm not complaining because that's their purpose in life, and AIPAC I think was organized in the distant past. I think when Eisenhower was president. And they've grown in influence, and in some ways, they have to be admired.
Did they influence you as president?
Listen.
Not really, because I was immune from those pressures. When I was elected president, I came out of nowhere. Nobody thought I was going to win until the last minute. And so I wasn't obligated to them. And I worked assiduously almost every day of my term as president to bring peace to Israel and also peace to Israel's neighbors. And we negotiated a peace treaty between Israel and Egypt, not a word of which has ever been violated. So I don't think there was any doubt that my commitment then and now was to see Israel have peace, living in harmony with its neighbors, and justice as well, and peace for Israel's neighbors.
President Carter, when did you come to understand,
Listen.
through your presidency and beyond, the situation of the Palestinians?
Well, the situation with the Palestinians when I was president was not all that bad. The first time I went to Israel, I was governor, and I went to the West Bank. There were only 1,500 settlers in all of the West Bank. And the general presumption, even by Israeli leaders with whom I met, was that Israel would withdraw from the Palestinian territories. It was a temporary thing. And when I negotiated an agreement with the Prime Minister of Israel, Menachem Begin,
Yeah, so the resources in the region.
that the political forces and the military forces of Israel would be withdrawn from Palestinian territory. That's all in a written agreement. But in the last 10 years, I would say the situation has deteriorated rapidly. Not many people are permitted to go and visit as we have done. For instance, members of B'Tselem, the outstanding human rights organization within Israel, those members are not permitted to go into areas of the West Bank. They have to observe from a distance what goes on, say, in Gaza now.
So human rights organizations are not able to go into the West Bank or Gaza to actually see what's going on. And this is why, so this is just, this part right here is going to be my personal opinion. Okay. The reason we needed the fake peace deal, okay? The reason we needed the fake peace deal that was done on October 10th is because Gaza was becoming mainstream news everywhere. It had seeped from the confines of social media into mainstream media, and Israel was looking really bad. It was going beyond being streamed on social media where they could blame it on AI or say it was fake videos. We had doctors that were coming home and journalists that were coming home that were saying, this is what I saw. And it wasn't just doctors from a particular place. It was doctors from Australia and doctors from the UK and doctors from the US and doctors from, everywhere around the world. And so what has happened since October 10th? It's not mainstream anymore. They're talking about everything except Gaza. And that's what they wanted. This is why it is so important for us to continue to talk about it, for us to continue to share information, for us to continue to highlight what's happening, and most importantly, for us to continue to connect the dots between what has been happening to what is happening to the people that are in office, to the people that are running for office, to the policies that are being written. This is the part that is really important as we approach these midterms. I cannot say it enough. This is the part that becomes critically important. Okay? Almost done. Listen.
But on 3 occasions, the Carter Center, led by me personally, have been invited by the Palestinians to monitor their election. In 1996, when Arafat was elected president and the first parliament, so-called, was elected. Again, after Arafat died, when Mahmoud Abbas was elected president, and then in 2006 in January, when the Hamas ran for parliamentary seats and they were successful. So in performing the duty of monitoring election, we are obligated to go to every village and every town in the entire West Bank and also throughout Gaza to see what's going on. So we could see the terrible plight of the Palestinians.
Now, here's the part that I want you to really listen to, because a lot of times when we talk about Israel and Palestine, we focus a great deal on Gaza, and we should, right? It's also incredibly important that we remember and we acknowledge and we talk about what is happening in the West Bank every single day. It is incredibly important to talk about the illegal settlements that are all throughout the West Bank and what is being done to Palestinian people in the West Bank. He's going to talk about that. And I want you to remember this damn interview, y'all, is from 18 years ago. Listen.
The fact that Israel has over 200 settlements on Palestinian territory, all fortified, that Israel has over 500 checkpoints in Palestine.
500 checkpoints in Palestine. I want you to think right now about your state. What if, or the region that you live in, right? What if there were 500 checkpoints throughout your region that determined whether you could leave that part of the region, whether if you left, you could come back, what you could take out with you when you left, what you could bring back in when you came back in, if you could use this road to go where you want to go, simply based on the fact whether you are a Palestinian or not. Oh yeah, I know they have the surveillance in New Orleans. It's real time. Right. You all, I really want you all to understand, and it goes back further than Palantir. It does. That's just the newest, most dangerous, ugly version of it. But folks, they have used the history of this country and the messaging and the manipulation and the narratives about the Middle East. And it's funny because it's not even known as the Middle East. The Middle East of what, right? The answer is white people's worlds. That's what it is. Sorry, y'all, but that's why it's called the Middle East, right? But it's important for people to understand. I mean, it just to, I was watching, so I forget what I was watching, but it was an educator that was on, and she was talking, and it was in some forum, and one of the women there referred to the Middle East, and she said, "Let me just stop you there for a moment. What makes you think it's the Middle East? The middle of what?" It was named the Middle East because of its location, because India was considered the Far East of the white Western world, right? So that meant that Palestine and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, those countries were the Middle East, right? Colonizing language, Carol, exactly. But we don't stop to think about that. And so this woman went on to say that when she now travels, she calls London like the middle of something or this, that, whatever. I don't remember what she said now, but it was hilarious to me because she said, "I'm just going to start calling your regions and your countries based on their the far west." Yes, Lanny, for humanity. Yes, the far west. What's the correct term to use for the Middle East? I would just say whatever country you're talking about. I would just say whatever country you're talking about. Mediterranean maybe, yeah. But I think it's just really important that we begin to, y'all know words are important. And we have labels and terms that we use that aren't from the people of those regions. You know, I think back to when we talk about what's civilized and what's not. Y'all, to I don't think it's civilized to build huge big buildings, not pay people enough to work, allow children to be hungry and homeless and have billions of dollars. I don't believe that to be civilized. I think that's very brutal. I think that's very backwards. I think that's very violent. I don't think that's a civilized society. I believe that a civilized society takes care of its people. A civilized society takes care of each other. A civilized society, right? You're not civilized because you eat with a fucking fork. You can eat with your fingers and be civilized. Because if you use right, Kat, it's barbaric. You can eat with a fork, and if you're turning around and you're stabbing people in the back with that fork, nobody cares about you eating with a fork. But that's what people think. We have been propagandized to believe that civilized is your manners. Civilized is the way that you carry yourself. Civilized is the way that you speak and enunciate your words. And civilized is no. Civilized is the tribe in Africa that when someone in their tribe does something wrong or steals something, right? Civilized is doing what they do, where they bring that member of their tribe into the center of the village and everyone takes turns telling them something good about themselves until they remember that this one bad thing they've done is not the sum of who they are and the majority of them is good. That is civilized. That is civilized, right? It is civilized. It is civilized to make sure that when women need health care, they get it and that it doesn't make their families go broke. Civilized is when someone gets a diagnosis that says they are going to leave this earth in 2 to 4 years and the treatment doesn't cost them so much they lose their house and they go bankrupt and they're done for. And now not only do they have to worry about leaving the earth and their family, they got to worry about if they can pay for it, how can they pay for it, and can they keep their home while they do. Civilized would say, oh my gosh, you have this thing, here we are, here's the medication. This isn't something you should have to be worrying about. That's being civilized. Civilized. Let me give it to y'all because I saw somebody in the comments say Israel is not civilized to Palestinians. The American government is not civilized to the majority of its citizens either. It's not a boom boom G side, but it is a slow G side for minorities and poor people. We have got to stop elevating the United States of America as this standard when the truth of the matter is we are causing, listen, Israel could not do what Israel does to Palestine without the United States. So we should change that verbiage and we should say the United States of America isn't civilized to Palestinians. The United States of America isn't civilized to Sudan. The United States of America isn't civilized to Venezuela. Y'all get that? It's us. The call is coming from inside the house. It is us. And this is why we must collectively do the work to transform the country that we are. This is it, folks. And in order for us to, hell no, the United States of America was never civilized to indigenous people, and it's still not civilized to indigenous people. Let me say that shit 100%. And this is something I have said for a long time. If you have followed me for however long you've followed me for, if you have followed me for a year or more, could you put in the chat the number of years that you have followed me? I'm going somewhere with this, so just bear with me. If you have followed me for any length of time, put the number of years you have followed me in the comments. I see ones, I see twos, I see a year and a half, I see almost a year. Said Michelle, very beginning, 7, 8 years, 2 years, 2 years, 1.5 since the protest. So that's another 6 years, 9 years, right? 6 months, almost a year. Okay. If you have followed me for any length of time, this is something. And now what I want you to do, hey, Michelle, now what I want you to do is write in the comments either yes or no to this. Have you ever heard me say that the United States of America, I love you, friend, and I miss you so much. And he knows who I'm talking to. But listen to me. Have you ever heard me say this thing right here? The United States of America will never be all that she can be until we, number one, do right by indigenous people. Number two, do right by Black Americans in this country. And then number three, right? We can keep going. See the folks saying yes, 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 yes. That has always been my stance, and I believe it with every fiber of my being. What's up, William? I see you over there on Facebook. And the reason why I believe that, I'm going to share this with you all. The reason why I believe that to the degree that I do is this. You cannot grow good fruit from bad soil. You cannot birth beautiful things out of ugliness, right? So listen to me. This country was built out of robbery and theft and unaliving and grape and assault and lies, right? We have broken our treaties with indigenous Americans over 300 times, right? We have broken our treaties with Native Americans over 300 times. So you cannot be surprised at the world that we live in. You cannot be surprised at the country that we live in. You can't be surprised at the fruit blossoming from our roots. Our roots are in, yeah, what are our roots in, y'all? It ain't good. So I said this yesterday. In order for the new reality to come into being, which is the country that we all desire, right? In order for that to happen, the country that we've always been has to crumble. And I'm not saying the country itself just goes to hell in a handbasket. What I'm saying is the mindset, the systems, the governments, the people running things, it has to change. Those two realities can't coexist. We live in a world right now where we criticize our children for having empathy. You actually have white women walking into school boards saying empathy is a dangerous word. If you don't get the fuck out of my face with that, and then tell you with the same face they know Jesus. No, you don't. There is no way you know Jesus if you think empathy is dangerous. You think empathy is dangerous because you are a manipulator of people and their emotions. You think empathy is dangerous because you take advantage of the vulnerability and goodness of other people. That's why you think it's dangerous, but everybody ain't like you. Y'all get that? If you think empathy is dangerous, that's because you are dangerous to people that are empathetic. Yeah, Linda, I do. I do have a hard stop. I have to get babies today. Y'all, listen, I cannot say this enough. Empathy, compassion, vulnerability, authenticity, those are some of your greatest strengths. Yeah, Prime. Moms for Liberty is taking their ass into school board meetings talking about how empathy is dangerous. No, it's not. You are. Empathy is not. I'm just saying, you all, this is the place. And I said this, listen to me. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Democratic, Socialist, fucking frog on a log. I don't care how, I don't care. After last year's election, I said to everybody that was online with me, I said, our journey between now and the midterms is more than just political. I said, it's also going to be personal. Our current politics is representative of our current state as people. And if we want to change our politics, then we must change who we are as people. You hear me? This is about who you are. And I know some of you all, and I say this a lot, some of you all are like, MAGA is so hateful. Let me just say this to y'all. I've seen some liberals that are hateful as fuck. And there's a difference between being disrespectful and being hateful. I will disrespect the fuck out of out of some people. For me, I can be disrespectful to Lindsey Graham because he has not earned my respect. I can be disrespectful to Laura Loomer because she hasn't earned my respect. I can be disrespectful to Donald Trump and Jared Kushner and any of the boys. I can be disrespectful to Tim Scott. I can be disrespectful to Mike Johnson. I can be disrespectful to any of those people because they are not respectful to me. But that is a difference between being disrespectful and being hateful. I still do not wish them harm. I would rather wish them conversion. I would rather wish them empathy. I would rather wish them compassion. Because that is what changes people. That is what changes people. And so listen, here's my thing, Beach Bum Wannabe. When we say they evil, I don't believe that. What I believe is that they are just like everybody else. You hear me? Listen, every single one of us has the capacity to be as evil or as honorable as we want. It depends on what we choose in any given day. If you've ever seen the video of Lindsey Graham he's sitting in the back of a car. I believe it's in 2016. Tell me if you've seen this video. He's sitting in the back of a car in 2016. He is talking about Joe Biden. Have you all ever seen this video? Do you know what I speak of? Listen. Hold on. Let me just see if I can find it. Lindsey Graham in car talking about Joe Biden. Look at this shit. Here it is. Here it is. He almost cried. Listen, he literally almost cried, people. Listen, I'm going to play it for you. But listen. Hold on. This girl always be playing some crazy ass person in a movie. Okay, listen.
bottom line is, if you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, then it's probably you got a problem. You need to do some self-evaluation, because what's not to like?
Listen to this. If you can admire Joe Biden as a person, you got a problem with you. Because what's not to like? I'm gonna play it again. Y'all need to hear it. Listen.
The bottom line is, if you can't admire Joe Biden as a person, then it's probably you got a problem. You need to do some self-evaluation, because what's not to like? Here's what I can tell you, that life can change just like that. Don't take it for granted. Don't take relationships for granted. I called him after Bo died, and he basically said, well, Bo was my soul. I've talked for a long time. He came to my ceremony and said some of the most incredibly heartfelt things that anybody could ever say to me. And he's the nicest person I think I've ever met in politics. Is that right?
This is Lindsey Graham saying that Joe Biden is the nicest person he's ever met in politics. Listen.
As good a man as God ever created.
He's as good a man as God ever created. That's a far cry from the Biden crime family, ain't it? That's a far fucking cry from the Biden crime family. Oh, I appreciate that, Michelle. I really do. Listen.
And we don't agree on much, but I think he's been dealt a really gut blow. I think he focuses on what he's got to do, not what he lost. His heart's been ripped out, but he's going to make sure that the other members of his family is well taken care of. And he started talking about his grandkids, more worried about them than anything. We just talked about the future. Yeah. He started talking about the future of his family.
So that is Lindsey Graham talking about Joe Biden just 10 years ago. Just 10 years ago, y'all. This is what I keep saying. So when y'all keep saying, where's loyalty? Stop. Listen, y'all are expecting people to be like you would be, and they are not. You must accept that people live and walk through this world how they are, and it has nothing to do with who you are or who you would be. And I keep saying this to people. Money doesn't change people. Money exacerbates, money enhances, money amplifies who they have already been. Money amplifies who they have always been. Stop blaming money. Money is just energy, like anything else. Money is just energy like anything else. Okay? And I think it's really important for people to stop blaming it on money. Don't blame it on social media. Don't blame it on TV. Don't blame it on the radio. It is us. It is us. We are the problem. It's us. Listen, when I say this, I really want you all to hear me. I believe that we are literally on the cusp, number one, of a change in leadership, not just in the United States of America, but globally. And I believe that change of leadership is a switch from patriarchy to matriarchy. 100%. I believe that. I'm not saying there won't be any men anywhere in power, but it won't be the men of yesterday or today. It will not be the men who don't understand that masculinity isn't testosterone and big muscles and force. It will be the people who understand that strength is soft. It will be the men who understand that strength is softness. Strength is vulnerability. Strength is inclusion, right? 100%. You hear me? It will be every bit of that. Now, what I want you to remember is that most of the time, thank you, Linda, most of the time, what we see with people, when people do angry things or bad things or mean things, I want you to look beyond the behavior. I want you to look beyond the words to what's underneath. Because most of the time, it's coming from pain, or it's coming from trauma, or it's coming from abandonment. It's coming from solitude. It's coming from despair. It's coming from no self-worth, no self-love. So I believe that almost every emotion comes back to two things. I believe everything is rooted in either love or fear. The opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is fear. And many times it's difficult to reach the love, right? It's difficult to reach the love. It's difficult to get back to the love, because the last time you got the love, a bunch of other stuff came with it. So I'm not asking you to get to love. I'm going to ask you to get to hope. That's the only place I want you to get to. I want you to get to hope. Now, I just said the word hope. How many of you all know where I'm going next? Who knows where I'm going next? Where am I going, y'all? Somebody knows where I'm going. Yes, Kim. Yes, we got to just watch it. Okay, so hold on. So my people know me and I love this. Listen, I volunteer as tribute. I volunteer as tribute. I have been saying this for such a long time. Yeah, we will do. That's going to be one of our Christmas ones, Cam. Okay, so listen. I am a Hunger Games girl. Like, I love the movies. I love them. But I want you all to hear something. So this is one of my favorite parts of this movie. Do you remember in the very first one when the game maker gives Katniss an 11 in Hunger Games, and President Snow, played by Donald Sutherland, says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "She shot an arrow at your head." And he was like, "No, she didn't. She shot it at an apple and a pig." And he was like, "Yeah, near your head." Listen, he teaches us all something about hope. Listen to what he says about hope. Okay, Sin. Sin just said, "I'm afraid of being vulnerable to those who will cause me harm. Can't move past that, but I want to." Nope. Let me say it for you. I have been afraid of being vulnerable to people who will cause me harm, which, why would you want to do that? Right? What that shows me is you're not paying attention to your own inner wisdom. You're not paying attention to your own red flags, right? Because if you know they will cause you harm, why would you be vulnerable to them? That's number one, beloved. Number two, you say, "Can't move past that, but I want to." Here's the framing of the word. I want to be able to be vulnerable freely, right? And in the past, I've been vulnerable with people who have caused me harm. So now you have the opportunity to find out how to be vulnerable with people All right. So here we go. Hold on. You ready? Thank you, Sandy. Love that. All right. So listen, I'm going to play this real quick because I do have to get the grandbabies. Yep. I got 10 minutes, y'all. Listen, I have 10 minutes because today is the day that I do have to get my grandbabies off the bus. So listen to this while we wrap up in 10 minutes so I can get my grandbabies. And then maybe I'll go live tonight while we're having fun because tonight my niece, my great niece, and my grandbabies and I are painting our clay made ornaments and making some homemade cookie bars and do all of that. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to get my shoes on while I play this clip. Okay. Are y'all ready? Ooh, that was an ad. Here we go. Hold on. Listen to the clip, y'all. Nope, Wendy, not today. I did yesterday, but not today. This is my jam right here. Listen, y'all.
She earned it.
She shot an arrow at your head.
Well, at an apple.
Near your head. Down. Seneca,
Why do we have the
why do you
games?
think we have a winner?
Why do you think we have a winner?
What do you mean?
I mean, why do we have a winner?
Tell him, President Snow.
I mean, if we just wanted to intimidate the districts, why not round up 24 of them at random and execute them all at once? Be a lot faster.
Be cheaper, too.
Hope.
Listen.
Hope. Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear. A little hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous.
He said he said hope. We do it for hope. He said hope is the only thing that can drive out fear. A little hope is good. A lot of hope is dangerous. If you want to become dangerous, find yourself some hope.
Stock is fine, as long as it's contained.
So,
Contain it.
Contain it.
He says a spark is fine as long as it's contained. Don't let them contain you. Don't let them contain you. Don't let them contain your hope. Hope is a choice. Nobody gets to determine when you feel it, when you don't. Y'all, listen, do you know what it is? It's hope that you admire so much in Palestinians. When you see them, it's from Hunger Games, the very first one, Kat. Listen, it's their hope. It's their belief. It's them opening up schools in the face of a G-side. It's their hope that's got you so jazzed up. It's their hope of being liberated one day that makes you just go, oh my gosh, they're so incredible. It's the hope of Zohran Mamdani that makes you think he reminds you of Barack Obama. It's not. He just reminds you of what hope feels like. You hear me? Zohran Mamdani does not remind you of Barack Obama. Them two men are not the same, but it's you feeling the hope. It is the hope that you feel. And the last time you felt it was when you listened to Barack Obama. Now, Kamala gave you joy. Joy is not the same thing as hope. How many of you all told me last year, I'm scared to hope? I heard a lot of y'all say that. I'm scared to hope. But you found joy, didn't you? You found joy, but you said to me, I'm scared to hope. Y'all better figure out how to be hopeful. I am telling you all, it is the most powerful thing. And listen, it's a choice. It's a choice. And don't surround yourself with things that steal your hope. Y'all be asking me all the time, Dani, did you see this? Dani, did you? Hell no, I didn't see it. Why? Because I already know it's out there and I don't need to see it to know it's there. I don't need to see it in my face to know it's there. I know what's there, but I'm going to give my time and my attention and my energy and my focus to the things that remind me to be hopeful. like Kristi Noem getting her ass handed to her in Congress yesterday. Whoa, that'll give your ass some hope. Listen, so y'all saw that church in me just now. Y'all know I was raised in the South in church. That was that. Whoa, listen, y'all gonna mess around and be like, oh no, 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 no. See, I'm from that kind of church, y'all. Well, people just used to dance around. I'm just saying, and I'm not asking you to have faith. I'm not asking you to have faith in this world or in society. All I'm asking you to do is have hope, because hope generates faith all on its own. You won't even know, you won't even realize the amount of faith you have, because you will be so married to your hope. I'm just telling you, and that is when we change things. Now, you can't be hopeful while you calling people maggots. You can't be hopeful while you're saying all Trump supporters are dumb, or that there's nothing that you can do, they're not reachable. You can't be hopeful talking like that. You can't be hopeful talking like that. They are not the sum of the thing that they've done. You better think about those people the way you think about that African tribe that brought the people into the village and reminded them of all the good things about them. Some of those people that voted for Donald Trump, right? Some of those people, y'all, are out there taking care of people. They're rescuing animals. They're feeding children. They are. A lot of them got manipulated by their religion. A lot of them had their religion manipulated, and it stole them. Shit, they're not just a little lost, Christine. Some of them are a little lost. Some of their ass is all the way in Timbuktu, but that's okay. That's okay, because you're going to turn on your light. You're going to turn on your light, and with every ounce of hope that you get, your light's going to get brighter, and you're going to show them the way home. You're going to be like Motel 6, Christine. You're going to keep the light on for them. That's what you're going to do. Okay? And at the same time, we're going to hold people accountable for the things that they do when they are public officials in office. At the same time, we're going to call a thing, beloved, and we're not going to dress it up and pretend like it ain't so. At the same time, see, you can do both. You can do both. You got it? So that's what we're going to do. We can do both of those things, and we are going to do that. Thank you, Michelle. So I have got to go get grandbabies. I know there are still, several hundred of you guys in here, and that's okay. I love you for joining. I hope that you follow. If you are on any of these socials, I hope that you have liked the live. I hope that you have commented. I hope that you have on TikTok. Click the little daily heart me up here. I hope that you've clicked it again and claimed your points so that it counts. I hope that you ask to be notified when I'm live again. I hope that you go to my link tree, right, and sign up on my email list. I hope you stick with me, because we got a lot of work to do in 2026, okay? I love y'all, mean it. Very grateful for all of you guys. I'm going to go get my babies and have a good Friday evening, okay? I will see you all later. I almost said good night and God bless like I'm Russell Simmons, but I don't like his ass no more. So love y'all, mean it.